Are you competitive by nature? Now, again, nature versus nurture. Was I born this way? Was it something that I learned that was conditioned in me because of my family situation or my parents, siblings, friends, my community? I don't know the answer to that. And yet, some of us are just driven to compete. I want to tell you a story. This is the story about a little boy. And yes, this little boy is me. Growing up, the youngest of five kids, I was always competing. I was competing for attention. I was competing for love. I was competing to win in games. I was competing all the time. And along with competing often comes comparing. I'm sure you've heard it said before that comparison's the thief of all joy. It certainly was for me as a little boy growing up with an older brother who was 6 years older than me and three older sisters as well. Lots of comparing, lots of competing. And what happened was when I didn't win or do the best that I thought I could do, it just destroyed me. I had an image in my mind as to what success looked like when it came to playing Scrabble with my dad, or when it came to shooting hoops with my sister. And that carried over into every sport that I played, every piece of art that I created as a young man. I was always competing, and not just with others, but often with myself. I had set standards of what I knew I could accomplish. And most people, my coaches, my teachers, my parents, my siblings, they would have said, yeah, Andrew was a very successful kid. He was a successful young man, and he seemed to, do well at everything he put his mind to. And yet, there was a lot of turmoil going on for that kid. In fact, when I didn't win, I would cry. And I was literally the baby of the family. And I would just get so mad. And it wasn't that I was mad at others, I got really mad at myself. And that was not healthy. I had an image of what I thought was possible for me, and I could never seem to measure up to that standard and that ideal. And that was really hard. It was really, really hard for me. It actually created a lot of self esteem issues. I thought that because I can't show up and meet the expectations that I have of myself, then there must be something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough. And having coached hundreds of high achieving entrepreneurs in the last 9 years, the time of this recording, I have found that many of us are built this way as well. We not only have this ideal image of ourselves as business owners, as members of society in our churches and in our families and in our relationships that matter most, but we also seem to have this image of ourself in relationship to God as well. And we're always competing with the self that we are now and this future self of who we know we can be. And we're always comparing, and we're focusing on this huge gap between where we're at now and where we know we could be. This is a very scarce way to approach life. And it leads to, as I shared about me as a young man, it leads to low self esteem, low confidence, always trying to prove something to someone. And that someone always seems to be our self. Now, if that's your story or something similar, if that resonates for you, great. And I think that just was a golden thread that ran itself through pretty much most of my life. I actually had an incredible breakthrough yesterday. Yesterday, I spent time with my coach, and we did some mental and emotional release work, letting go of things that I didn't know were in there. I knew that something was preventing me from leveling up, to really stepping into my unique abilities, to really serve in the way that will fulfill my life mission. I mean, I have the clarity and I have the vision, and yet something was getting in my way and I didn't know what it was. And I'd like to share what I found with you. I found that I had this deep fear of being seen as someone who is proud. Not the good proud, like I'm so proud of you, but the bad pride, the pride that says I'm better than you. I never wanted to be that person. And that drive inside me also not only led to successes in my life, but I just had this fear of other people thinking, who the hell do you think you are? What gives you the right? And so I would play small. I would downplay my unique gifts and abilities. I would try to, as Marianne Williamson said in my favorite quote of all time, it's in my book twice, she said, "Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone," she says. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So my fear was that others would think that as I was shining my light, that I was trying to be the light. And for me, that light is God, it's Christ. I never wanted to be seen as that person. And so I would dim my light. I would mask my great gifts and abilities. And I was so scared because I had seen people growing up who were models of success become so caught up in how they compared to others, in competing and actually destroying their souls and their families. And it was all tied around success and wealth and money and prestige. And I just so badly didn't want to do that, that I was destroying that drive and that gift and that love that I have, the passion to serve and help people live a higher level of spiritual strength. I'm done with that. I'm not competing. I'm not comparing. And you can stop it too. You don't have to compare yourself to others or your future self. You don't have to compete with them or that future self. That future self is going to win every day because it's not who you are now. That future self has learned things. It's been through things. It's way more patient. It has more maturity, more knowledge and experience. And if you can be patient with yourself now and realize that that future self is being created through collaboration. I love those words. Creation and collaboration, rather comparison and competition. You are in the mode of creation. You're being created and recreated every day. And the way that you can make this easier on yourself is through collaboration. You don't have to compete with others. You can collaborate with them. You can say, let me tell you what I see for myself and my future and my life mission. How do you see me now in regards to that future self? How do you see me not showing up as that person? Can you help me? And then we ask for mentors and friends and coaches to support us and hold us accountable to be and create that future self now. And that creation process is not only sped up, but it's a lot more enjoyable. There are less tears along the way, less guilt and shame and anger and all of the depression that comes when you're competing with that future self. Just create it, be it. Be that future self now. Benjamin Hardy wrote the book, Be Your Future Self Now. He's a dear mentor of mine, someone that I have just fallen in love with because he teaches this principle. And I'm telling you, you don't have to compare yourself to that future self. You can create it and be it. You don't have to compete with it as well, because that's not fair. It's like trying to compete with God. Will we be like God someday? That's the goal. Jesus said, be therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. But he's not saying that you're going to be that right now. It's happening. And you can be patient with that process. You can trust everything that's happening for you as you collaborate with others. When you're collaborating with others, there is synergy. There is a power that takes place in that relationship. And that power goes far beyond what you could do by yourself or what they could do for you. Stephen Covey says that synergy is creative, in that third alternatives show up. It's not just this or that. It's not just A or B. It's not just option 1 or 2. There's always something in this space, in this quantum field, in this world that God has provided for us. There's always something to be created that we are gaining clarity on. And as we bring others along with us in that mastermind way, we tap into a mastermind. We begin to see things we couldn't see before. We begin to do things we've never done before. And we're being someone we've never been able to be. That's what this world needs. We don't need competition. We don't need comparison. We need creation and collaboration. So I invite you to just go ahead and pause this video or podcast, whether you're listening or watching. I invite you to just pause this. It's so easy to just crank through these moments of learning because we're feeling so inspired and we want to move on and just keep letting that pour into us. But I invite you to just stop. Stephen Covey also said that learning is changed behavior. And what I invite you to do is to change a behavior right now by just like actually stopping this and doing what I'm about to ask you to do. Here's what I ask you to do. I ask you to I'm asking you to write down the names of 3 people, not 30, not 13, not 10, or even 5, but I just want you to write down the names of 3 people that you could be collaborating with right now to help you create something that you know is yearning to be fulfilled inside you. Aristotle said, just like the acorn yearns to become the oak within it, you have that yearning as well. And I invite you to collaborate with and write down the names of 3 people and reach out to them in the next 24 hours and say, this is what I see. This is what I believe can be created. This is the future self that I believe I can bring into the now. Will you help me? What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? What is it that's present in my life that won't be present in that future self's life? What is it that I need to add? Where is it that I need to grow and learn? This is such a vulnerable thing to do. It takes extreme humility. But humility is where growth happens. Humility comes from the root word hum, H-U-M, like hummus. It means of the earth. When we are humble, we are willing to be broken down, like ground is broken down to plant a seed, like a seed breaks down to sprout, like the bud breaks open for the flower to blossom, and like the flower breaks down and lets the seed be released back into the earth to create new life. Humility allows for new growth to happen. And as you reach out to these 3 people, you're showing that you're humble. You're showing that you are asking for an interdependent relationship. Not a codependent, not a dependent, not even an independent, but an interdependent. I need you. And if you need me too, I'm here for you. I'm not doing this alone. I am collaborating. I am creating. I am not competing or comparing. That thief of all joy, comparison. I am here for joy. And I want to help you tap into that too. If you need some help, please reach out. I'm not even kidding. I will spend time with you. I love collaborating with other people and finding out what you're creating and seeing how I can help in that creation process. There's often something that gets in the way, you're stuck, like I was stuck, fearful of this prideful future self that I never wanted to become, which was holding me back from becoming who I know I am. And if you're feeling stuck, my unique ability is to hold space for you and help you see something and discover what it is that's getting in the way. And I'll do that. All you have to do is click on the link below and I'll spend that time with you. And thank you for liking and subscribing. I know that this is a big ask and I'm asking for your help. I need you. I'm collaborating with you as I create these messages that the world needs. I need you to like and subscribe to this channel to this podcast and share it. Share it with someone that you want to collaborate with and create magic with in this world. It means the world to me that you have brought me into this space in your life today, and you can share that. You can pay it forward. Maybe it's with those 3 people. And as you do so, you're going to create something far greater than you ever could have imagined. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this process. Thank you for trusting me, for giving your time and attention in this moment. We'll talk soon.